Today we are going to talk about my 8th grade curriculum picks for this year. Yes, I have an 8th grader and I'm still homeschooling him. And if you want to know more about me, look at the description box below. All the links are in the description box below, but I'm just going to get right to it because we are going to do that. So now that he is in 8th grade, we have actually had a long conversation about what he wants to do when it comes to after high school, what he's looking at, and he decided that he wants to go on a college-bound track. And they have some scholarships available for us in the state of Florida. And so we are actually gonna start doing 2 classes this year that are gonna count for high school credit. So the first one is mathematics. He is actually in Algebra 1. So we have been using teaching textbooks for that, and he did pre-algebra this year. He just about got through it. We're almost done, and he will be ready for Algebra 1. And so very simple, teaching textbooks. I will leave a link in the description box below to a video that I did on teaching textbooks if you want to learn more about that, all my thoughts about it, lots of thoughts about teaching textbooks. And if you're curious about what I think, watch those videos, specifically one that I'm going to put in the iCards right now. So the second class that we are looking at doing for high school credit, this one he's kind of going back and forth a little bit about, but I'm trying to really push him to go in this direction since we can just get our languages out of the way, because in the state of Florida, certain colleges are going to require them to have 2 years of a language that are consecutive and the same language. So I am kind of letting him pick which language he wants. He's leaning more towards Spanish, but he does have the option of doing Hebrew. And so I am really letting him decide between the two. They are offering Hebrew at the co-op. I actually speak Hebrew pretty well. I spent a lot of time in Israel, so I can help him with that, but at the same time, he's Puerto Rican. My husband's Puerto Rican. So Spanish, he also is looking at Spanish. And I think that is where he's leaning towards. And if we do go with Spanish, we're going to be doing Homeschool Spanish Academy again, which we did for 1 year. We took a little bit of a break, and I'm pretty sure we're going to pick up with Homeschool Spanish Academy. Hey Isaac, what do you want to take next year for your language?
Probably Spanish.
So that's what it sounds like. So next, let's look at language arts, which is pretty much a language arts credit, but there are a lot of components with language arts. And the first one is writing. Now, we have always done IEW with him. And I did go ahead and get this IEW right here, which is the Bible-based writing lessons. Now, I'm actually going to be using this a little bit different this year because I want him to, it's almost like I want to let him fly and try out some more different environments with writing. So at our homeschool co-op, they have a creative writing class, which actually does, it's a whole class, it's a full class. So he's gonna be taking that. And if I feel like he needs some fillers, we're gonna start to work through this. Another reason I'm also doing that is because he has actually finished all of the structure and styles for middle school. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do with that. I still love IEW. You can learn more about how much I love IEW with the video in the iCards, and I highly, highly recommend IEW. One of the main reasons I really like IEW is because it gives you the tools and a good starting point. It makes your writing a little more interesting, and it gives a child direction on where they can go with their writing and how to really just branch out and explore different verbs and adjectives and adverbs and clauses and openers and all those things. It has a ton of tools. So now that he's gonna be doing a creative writing class, he can now bring all those tools that he has been learning with IEW through all those years and now be able to use them in a different kind of setting with a different kind of teacher who is actually a friend of mine. So because our co-op is actually very small and intimate and we all know each other because that's how homeschool co-ops are. So that's what we're doing for writing. For grammar, we are going to continue to use Fix-It Grammar. This is Robin Hood, which basically means they're going to take the story of Robin Hood, which is conveniently in the back of the book if you wanted to read the whole story straight through. They're going to take the story of Robin Hood, and on each day they take a sentence from the story. They have to correct all the grammatical errors, put commas, periods, capitalization. They're gonna have a vocabulary word in there. And then they have a list of all the things that they have to take care of, whether they're marking it or fixing it. And then they rewrite the sentence correctly down here. There are some review pages. And it actually gets more difficult because they've got clauses that they have to label. They have pretty much everything in this grammar book with the exception of diagramming. Another thing that's really nice about it is going to be reminding him of all the tools that he has learned so far with IEW. So it can remind him as he enters this creative writing class to incorporate those tools so he doesn't forget them, kind of thing. This is a really good book, really good curriculum, and so we're using Fix It Grammar. I do know that vocabulary, when we get to those SATs and PSATs, which if he's college bound, he's gonna have to take them whether he likes it or not. I want him to really strengthen his vocabulary. And so I'm trying this out this year. It's the BJU version of vocabulary. And so I did get the teacher edition, which I think now in the future, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, to be honest. But for high school, you know, I think it's, you know, I don't have time to, I don't know, I don't think I want to grade on my own high school. I might get it anyway. But this is kind of what it looks like per lesson. These actually are very short. They're 10 lessons each. You know, you've got words from a story, so they have a story with the vocabulary bolded. And then we've got some matching down here. Then we've got same word, other context. And this is 11. So they're very short. They're very short lessons. Now I will look in the back though, cumulative review page that goes through and reviews all the different things they've learned. So it's short, sweet. It did say that it shouldn't take them a full year to do. So we might do 2 of them. I'll see how it goes and I'll let you know. But I do like BJU for a lot of reasons, especially for high school students. That's just my personal opinion. I think that covers all of the language arts. I did put a note in here that I was looking at spelling, but I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna do spelling with the 8th grader. If I did, I'd probably try BJU to see how it works. But I'm still like thinking about it. Oh, but I did get this. It's kind of, this might take more than a year to do, but it is prepping him for his PSATs and SATs, and we'll probably go through this very slowly. I do like the Critical Thinking Company. It is very traditional. It is very on your own, take your time, and so yeah, we'll see how it works. I've got to think about how we're going to handle the PSATs, SATs. You know, it's just, I feel like the PSATs and SATs should be a class in and of itself. Like it should be a credit. You kind of have to teach to the test for those. That's my thoughts. So moving on, I do have some books that I want to try out. This is actually more of a family type thing. I want to read this book desperately with my kids. And this is not it. This is the other one. Sorry. I got a study guide through Total Language Plus. It is a Christian-based company. I think this one's actually technically for 5th and 6th grade, but we're just gonna do it as a family. Same is true for this, which is what I held up at first. It's Anna Green Gables. This one's a little bit different. I don't know the difference between these 2 books. I don't know yet. Let me look. So this one is more of a focus guide where you're just basically reading the chapter and then you're going to read a little bit about it and then answer some basic questions about it. And then this one looks like it's just a full language arts thing. And so they have enrichment writing, comprehension, vocabulary, spelling, grammar, which kind of tells me this might be something, honestly, this might be something to do before I even get them started on, you know, something over the summer. For history, I'm sticking with Truth Quest for the boys, and so this includes my 8th grader. I have a whole video on Truth Quest. I'm gonna stick it up in the iCards, but just a brief explanation. This is a guide, and Truth Quest has lots of different options of, they're like unit studies sort of, it's a guide. So you can choose to do Greeks, you could choose to do Romans, you can choose to do ancient Egypt, and the biblical, ancient biblical times, ancient history, and then you can do Middle Ages, Renaissance. Then they have 3 for America, and they're guides. So when you open the book up, you can also buy binders that go along with it. It's a binder set. They're worksheets. They come in ebook form. They have cut and paste. They have essay prompts. They have writing stuff out, drawing if you want to, lots of options. You don't have to use all of them. You use the ones that you need. But the nice thing about TruthQuest is that it's very, very flexible. It is teacher intensive, I will say that. But if you do like doing history with your family, I don't know. It's so weird because we've dipped into other history curriculums a little bit here and there. And I always feel like those history curriculums are missing so much, because TruthQuest has so much to offer. And so what she does is she'll write a little blurb about what the topic is for each topic, and then she'll give you some books that you can consider reading for the topic. You don't have to do all of them. You may not be able to find all of them, but they're also listed by grade level. They also have spines that you can use as options. Some include Story of the World, some include the Greenleaf's Famous Men of Renaissance and Reformation, Story of Liberty, Fire Upon the Earth, Trial and Triumph. So if you've been homeschooling, you've probably heard some of those. Those are spines, which are kind of like starting points, and they will actually tell you what chapter to read on the subject. So for this one, this is John Wycliffe, right? So this topic is Jan Hus. And down here you have Greenleaf's Famous Men of Renaissance and Reformation, chapter 16. And that book is a spine. So you're not gonna read the whole book in one sitting, you're just gonna read a chapter. But you're probably gonna come back to the book later on as you read and do other lessons. They recommend that for 3rd through 8th grade. The next one is Story of the Renaissance and Reformation by C. Miller. That is chapter 6, grade 4 through 6. Now, they're not saying do both of them. You can do one or the other. You don't have to do all of them. Story of Liberty, that is chapter 3, grades 5 through 12. Once again, you don't have to do all 3. You could pick one of those. Now, in my case, what I'm probably going to do just by looking at this, I already have Fire Upon the Earth, which is a great book, by the way. And I also have Trial and Triumph, which is another great book. And I have been, I really, C. Miller, I don't know. I see myself getting Famous Men of Renaissance and Reformation. I don't know much about Story of Liberty, so I'm going to have to research it. Dorothy Mills, I know her stuff is going to be for the higher level high school, even though it does label it at 6 through 12. She's just higher. So I'm thinking, I'm talking out loud right now. For me, we've got these 2 books, and we've got this one I'm probably going to get, and probably this one. And so I'll have those as I go through the lessons, and I'll be able to pull them out as needed. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do with the 8th grader is exploring creation with chemistry and physics. This is Apologia. I have used this curriculum twice because I teach it at my homeschool co-op, and I am teaching again at my homeschool co-op for the middle schoolers. I struggled a lot. I didn't know if I wanted to go with this book, the Exploring Creation, or if I wanted to do the general science class for 8th graders that Apologia has to offer. I'm pretty torn between the 2, but I think I am going to have him do this one because it's been a while since he's done any physics or chemistry classes. So now some other stuff that I have written down on my paper, which are kind of like extracurricular type stuff. I do have him take an archery class. He loves it. He also has like a PE class at the co-op, which kind of counts as his physical education. But I also have him doing Type-C, which is a typing. We do 20 minutes a day with him, and then Simply Piano, which I actually really, really love Simply Piano. Piano lessons are very expensive, very expensive. I was a music teacher at one point in my life, and I do have a very strong music background. And one of the things I have found with music in general is that it does help with brain development. And so especially at this age when they're really developing those frontal lobes and the connections are becoming stronger, and I really want to make sure he continues to do some kind of music. Now he does, I believe he's getting involved. Are you doing guitar in the worship group at our congregation, Isaac?
Yes.
You are gonna do guitar?
Maybe.
Okay, well if he does guitar, then we'll just reassess that. However, Simply Piano is amazing, and we love it. And I do assign him a classical piece, and my husband's really been trying to listen to more classical music in the home because, like I said, what it does to the brain and brain development. So there's a lot that goes along with it if you study up on it. And let me know if you want me to go into a lot of that, because that is one area that I'm kind of like really into because it's cool stuff. So I think that about covers it with my 8th grade curriculum for my 8th grader this year. Almost done with middle school. I'm gonna have 2 middle schoolers this year, and they're both boys. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm sure one of my next curriculum picks is gonna be coming out very soon. So have a great night or day, and talk to you later. Bye.